Well, I was asked in the comments to do a review of the modifications. You can hear the gunshots in the background. I'm not that far from a gun range, but the modifications I've done on the bike, and I want to start off before going over those with a review and comparing it to Chinese bikes, because I have owned 3 different 250s and a couple of brand spanking new 125s. And with the Chinese bikes, a lot of people will say they're reliable. The Zongshan motor that's in most of those is in fact reliable. It's a good motor. It's just everything else about the Chinese bikes suck. Now, if this was a Chinese bike, I'm at over 1,000 kilometers now. I guarantee you I would have had at least one flat tire by now. I guarantee you, even though I would have had a disc brake back here and not a drum, something in that brake system would have failed by now. I guarantee it. I've had nothing but bad luck with brake systems. The calipers and the fluid reservoirs leaking, and the mechanism it's mounted to breaking off, and all kinds of trouble. And I guarantee you I would have had some wiring issues by now. Every Chinese bike I've owned has had wiring issues. And starter issues, and you name it issues. Everything but the motor on those bikes is garbage. And with this Honda at over 1,000 kilometers, I have had no issues whatsoever. And I've gotten so much enjoyment because I can just drive out in the bush as far as I want and not worry about it, knowing that, you know what, I'm going to get home just fine. So after 1,000 kilometers, I think it's the best single purchase I've ever made. I'm super happy with the value for the money. Now, my first mod was the mirrors. I took the round ones off, and I really like these a lot more. The right side has come loose on me, and I may want to put Loctite in there. Other than that, I've had no problems with them whatsoever. The only issue you need to be aware of is this is regular thread, and this side on the Honda handlebar is reverse thread. Now the kit, both mirrors are regular thread, but they give you an adapter which I have put in there, so it's a little bit ugly, but otherwise they work just fine for me. The shop I bought it from, I asked them to put handguards on, and this is what they came up with. I thought it would be the white Honda ones, so when I saw these on my bike, I was super excited. They look a lot better. Plus, they've got this support back here. It's really going to protect you if you're hitting tree branches. And if you happen to drop your bike, the chances of you breaking your clutch or front brake levers is really reduced. It's super. My cell phone mount, this is the second one I've had. The first one had a fixed end on one side and a spring load on the other and a locking mechanism. And I thought, you know, that's a good idea. But once you get out on the trail, you find out what works and what doesn't. And what that locking mechanism did was the spring-loaded side would slowly open up with every bump, every bit of pressure the phone put against it caused it to open and stay open. So the phone was actually almost falling out of that. This one is spring-loaded on both sides and just uses spring pressure to constantly clamp your phone, and I haven't had any issues with it. So the Mad Dog seat cover I put on is from Coleman, and it was $60, I think, and an absolutely great purchase. It only takes 5 minutes to put on. There's 3 straps. Lighting is bad. There are 3 straps that go underneath your seat and buckle on, and it was really quite simple and fits well on the Honda seat. Absolutely love it. The bag was another Amazon find, and I couldn't live without it. Run to town and pick up a few groceries or whatever and zip it in there. It sure beats stuffing things in your shirt. It's got plenty of room. It pops up a little bit, and it was quite easy to buckle in underneath. It hasn't slid around on me whatsoever, and I've carried decent weight in there and haven't had any issues with it. I do want to mention my helmet. I started off with a $70 helmet, and I wear glasses, so putting goggles over my glasses really sucked. But this thing was $150 off Amazon, and it is well worth it. Absolutely love this helmet. The interior is quite comfortable. The buckling mechanism, if I can flip it, is really nicely padded and easy to work with gloves on. Everything about that helmet is top notch. let's see, what else have I done? So the shop ordered me the Honda skid plate, and it was another $100. Thick plastic. It does move around. It has protected the engine a couple of times. I've kicked rocks off the front tire that have smacked it, and I'm glad it's on there. I'm not a bush pilot. I'm not about to be dropping off of logs and stuff like that, so I didn't need a metal skid plate. I can understand where some people who may be into a little more intense off-roading would want that. The only issue with this skid plate that I was worried about was, if we can see down there, the aluminum tab that hooks onto the back of the skid plate comes very close to the motor, and I can't seem to get a good angle on it. Oh, there it is right there. And you can see that it is quite close to the motor back there, but I do have a 1/16 of an inch of clearance, where on another YouTube channel, Life of Birch, his, when he put it in there, actually was rubbing right up against the motor, which you wouldn't want. You do need a little bit of room there. In the carburetor department, I have many videos on that and the issues I've had with it. And at the end of the year, I've settled on the 35 idle jet and the 115 main jet, and that's been serving me very well. I'm super happy with that. Had some people in the comments saying, leave it alone, leave it stock. And ultimately, it's your bike. If you like it stock, leave it stock. And if you want to tune it or change something on it, go for it. It's your bike, it's your property. So the only thing I did was pull the rubber caps off of the foot pegs, and I'm super happy with it. The pegs are a little bit small, but I don't do a lot of standing up. For me, they work fine, and I like having steel ones. I have seen some of the aftermarket ones you can put in there that are about twice as thick, and Mishmash Moto is one channel you can see how they look on there. I just don't really need the extra space myself. To each his own. I did put some goop in the tires so that if I get a puncture, it will seal itself out on the trail. I won't have to push it home. And these OEM tires, the stock tires that came with the bike, really suck in the sand and gravel. They are not very good tires for sand and gravel at all. But they're good quality. They've been holding up, and they work really, really well on the highway. And I'm pretty much done with the modifications I've done with the bike. So overall, I'm super happy with it. It's a gorgeous little bike. It's reliable. It's a little weak and anemic. It's not, but you know what? For a 150 to carry the 280 pounds of that bike, and my 200 pounds, that's almost 500 pounds it's packing around on a 150 motor. It's doing pretty good. And I never bought it to be a race rider. I just wanted to trail ride primarily, and it's super for that. Excellent mileage, super reliable, super comfortable. Couldn't ask for better. And thanks for watching. If you bought one of these yourself, I'm sure you already know they're well worth every penny.